And with this cool weather, that means all the blossoms on our fruit trees are going to be killed by the hard frost. One of the first things on my to-do list is to direct seed a whole lot of cool weather vegetables and flowers. So I have 4 different varieties of poppies. Good morning, everyone. Today we have a list of gardening chores that we are going to be tackling, and I'm going to take you along with me to share with you all these things that have to happen in the spring season. And maybe on some of them I'm a little bit late, but that's okay. So let me share with you what these things are, and then we will get started. One of the first things on my to-do list is to direct seed a whole lot of cool weather vegetables and flowers. So that's the first thing we're going to be doing. We are also going to be protecting our seedlings. This coming up week is supposed to dip down into the low 30s, and some nights we might get into the 20s, and that means hard frost. And I have a whole lot of seedlings over here, and we will have to protect all of these seedlings. I will give you a quick tour of all my seedlings as well once we are ready to protect all of these. I also have a bunch inside, and I'll give you a tour of those as well. And with this cool weather, that means all the blossoms on our fruit trees are going to be killed by the hard frost that might be coming. Last year, all of our peach crop was destroyed, and some of our apple crop as well because of the hard frost. In fact, all of our state lost its peach crop. And so because I don't want this to happen to our fruit trees, we are going to be protecting all of them. Any of them that are showing any signs of blossoms on them, those are going to be protected so that we can have a good harvest this year. And one of the last things that I would love to be able to do today is put up a couple more trellises in these 2 beds behind me, and actually one more over here. I have a bamboo trellis that we will be installing in this bed over here, and I am big on vertical gardening, even though we have a giant vegetable garden, because that provides us with a whole lot more space to garden without losing our walking areas. Because if you do want to plant any vining crops that will sprawl on the ground, those will take over and you won't have any more space to walk. So I love having trellises like this for this reason. It also allows me to grow pole beans and all sorts of different fun things that I love to grow. So that is one thing that we will try to do today. Hopefully it doesn't rain on us and we can actually accomplish all these things. Also, I think I'm biting more than I can chew, so I always do that to myself. We'll see what we can get done. So let's go ahead and get started with our first thing. One of the first things that I want to start on is to put up this bamboo trellis over here in this bed. And the reason why you see cardboard over here is because I'm trying to block the weeds. So I use this method in the spring or in the summer whenever I'm not using a bed, or right before I start planting in it, to block the weeds, because we have a very rainy environment over here, and that is a very good recipe for a whole lot of weeds. So I'm just pushing the cardboard a little bit to the back over here so that we can actually get this trellis set up. I used to actually put down weed fabric over the beds whenever I'm not planting, and I take it off when it's time for planting, so that I don't face this weed problem. Otherwise, I would just end up with giant weeds all over, and they would take over my vegetable garden. Last year, I wasn't able to be in the garden that much, and because of that, my garden was overtaken by weeds, and I don't want this to happen again. I love this bamboo trellis so much, but it's starting to fall apart. I've used it for several years now, and oh, you know what? I should have faced this one the other way. And I was thinking of getting another one like it, or maybe I could make something like it, because I do love it for peas especially. It's not super tall, and it's perfect for short climbing plants. There we go. You can see over here it's definitely starting to fall apart. And the nice thing about it is you can make it as tall or as short as you want. The more you extend it, the shorter it will be, and the less you extend it, the taller it will be. So I'm gonna go grab some string because I forgot about that. I got some twine over here, and before I do that, actually, I need some support in the middle, because first time I put up this trellis and I only had the support in the back over here, it started tipping over that way. So I had to make sure to provide it with some support on that side. So it doesn't matter, it could be a T-post or it could be just a tomato stake. Anything works as long as you're trying to stop it from going in either direction. And just this one in the middle over here is going to be enough. So all I'm gonna do is just tie it in a couple places at the top over here. You could also use zip ties, but right now I don't have any zip ties. So we're just gonna use some twine. Zip ties would be a lot easier, definitely. I think I cut this a little bit too long, that's okay. And another at the bottom. And I'm doing a few knots just so that it doesn't come unraveled or get unraveled. And we are going to do this to all 3 posts. All set. And can you guys hear the birds? They are so loud today, but I love it. The next thing we are going to work on is to prep the soil so that we can plant in this bed over here. So I have some chicken manure sitting in this wheelbarrow. This chicken manure is from last year, so it is super ready to be used. And I also have some garden tone over here. And we are going to be using these 2 things just right along this side of the bed over here, because I'm not ready to plant in here yet. And we're going to be scratching it into the soil. Now you see here there's only about like 2 inches maybe of soil for planting, but peas don't need more than this. And sorry, I forgot to turn on my microphone again a little bit earlier, but I'll try to remember to keep turning it on because I want you guys to have a good audio. Then I'm going to take my hori knife over here and just scratch this goodness into the soil over here. And these peas are going to love it. Now, peas are a legume, and that means they produce their own nitrogen, but that does not mean that they don't need any nitrogen. If your soil is lacking, you definitely need to provide them with some good fertilizer. And you can see over here, I'm using 2 different types of fertilizers because our soil, even though I have been building these raised beds up for several years now, when you plant so much in them, the nutrients are constantly being used up and you have to replenish those nutrients. So you either do it by adding compost or organic matter, and or by adding fertilizer, or both. And I like to add both just to make sure that my vegetables are going to grow super healthy and provide lots of fruits for us. Now if you provide too much nitrogen for your beans, they're not going to produce as well. So you have to be careful on how much you provide them with. And a couple of years ago, I think, we got some compost from a local business over here to us, and that was the worst compost we've got in my life. And our plants did not do well at all in it. It actually was harmful to our soil. And this is why I'm opting to use our chicken manure. It's free, it's from our chickens. I know where it's coming from, what food they're eating, all this stuff. And I know it's going to be really good for our soil. I have had these pea seeds for many years, since we bought this property. That is 8 years ago, and they're still good. But because of that, I'm going to plant them super heavy. Normally you want to plant your peas about 2 inches apart from each other, and I just create a trench in here, and you want to plant them about 1 inch or so deep. Then you want to cover them again. So I'm going to plant them pretty thickly in here, and I am going to leave this side over here for some poppies, because I want to have the walkway on each side of the beds to be filled with poppies, so that as you're entering into the garden from that side over there, you'll be walking sort of into a field of flowers. And we're going to also, in the summer, be fixing that raised bed up over there and also filling it with some beautiful flowers. Peas are a cool weather crop, and they can tolerate hard frost up to 28 degrees Fahrenheit. And you can soak them before you plant them. That is up to you. As you can see, I'm planting them pretty heavily because I'm not sure. Last year I planted from my seeds that I have saved, and I'm not sure how viable these seeds are, because I have been saving the seeds from my sugar snap peas. And I forgot to tell you the variety that I have over here. This is sugar and sugar snap peas, and it's one of our favorite varieties. We love it, and we just come over here into the garden and eat it, and a lot of the times we don't end up with any inside to go into our house and, you know, make recipes with. It's a really good variety. So you can plant peas pretty early in the season. We are in here in zone 5, even though they did put us as zone 6A. I don't believe that. I think we're still in zone 5B. And I garden like we are in zone 5B. But I am able to plant sugar snap peas pretty early in the season, even in March. And if we do have some really low temperatures, I just come out here and cover them. And this variety also does not really like to be in the heat at all. So once the weather gets hot, they just start to kind of crisp up and they don't look good. So they do best in a cool environment. I don't know if I mentioned how far apart to plant them from each other. You want to plant them about 2 inches apart from each other. If I did mention, I apologize. And I do have irrigation in this bed, but we are not turning the irrigation on yet because, as you can see, it's pretty muddy and wet all over the place. And also, we are still having frost, and I don't want to risk our pipes freezing. Oh, I planted sugar snap peas in there at the end, and I wanted to plant poppies. I'll just move them. I'll scooch them over. So I have 4 different varieties of poppies. I got this one last year, giant rattle poppy, and I wanted to plant it, but I never got to it. And I think this is also bread seed poppy. I don't know if you can harvest all the seeds from all the poppies. I'm going to look into it because I do want to be able to harvest seeds from them as well. And I think their pods are gorgeous. These also make beautiful pods. So this variety is the purple peony poppy and the black peony poppy, and these are gorgeous. And there is one variety that I did not want to plant, and I've been avoiding planting it because it has orange in it, and I think red too. But I thought, you know what, this year I'm just going to try it out anyways and see, maybe there are some colors that might be in it that I might like. So we're going to also try this one as well. And this came free. All these seeds are from Baker Creek, and they do have really nice varieties on their websites. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to be planting them, but I'm only going to make maybe 1 or 2 rows probably of poppies on either side. And I think I will probably plant them in blocks of color, where I would have one color on this row over here, another color on the other row, and so on and so forth. So first I'm just going to prep the soil in the beds where I'm going to be planting these poppies. I also have some weeding to do before I do that, and then we'll get these poppies planted. So all the beds are prepped. I didn't show you because it's basically the same thing that I did with the sweet peas over there. I added some chicken manure and fertilizer, and I just mixed it and I tilled it into the soil. So I just kind of did, you can see it right here, just a little bit in the bed I prepped. I didn't want to put fertilizer all over the bed where I'm not going to be using it yet. So this section of the bed has to be covered so that the weeds don't grow. And this section over here in the middle has to be covered because on that side I have Snapdragons. And we're going to be planting these with some poppies, of course. But before we do that, I just want to show you what I did over there. So that bed over there kind of got a little bit out of hand with the weeds, so I do need to clean it up. But I only cleaned up this section over here because that's where I'm going to be planting today, and the rest has to wait for maybe a few days later. So with this bed over here, I kind of not ran out of chicken manure, but let me show you over here. The chicken manure is all in like these big clumps, so I do need to soak it before I'm able to use it and break it up. And these 2 beds over here, this bed and this bed over here, are going to be my cool weather crops because I am going to be putting trellises just like these over here on this side as well, on both of these beds right here. So this means that these 2 beds over here are going to be a little bit shaded, and cool weather crops can take a little bit of shade because it actually helps them. They won't bolt that way. Excuse me, there's something in my eye. And like for example, broccoli and cauliflower and spinach and lettuce and all these things, the shade will help them a little bit in the summer. So I may be able to grow some lettuce and spinach in here in the summer if this helps. The shade helps a little bit with keeping them a little bit cool. I can also put a shade cloth over them, which I don't have, but I do need to get that because I think it's going to allow me to have these cool weather crops in the summer. And we'll see, maybe just a shade from this will be enough. I don't know. But in this bed over here, let's get back to it. Okay, I forgot what I was saying because I thought I was recording, but turns out I was not. Basically, this bed right here, I only added fertilizer to it in that section over there, and you can kind of see there's fertilizer or chicken manure on this side and fertilizer, while on that side there's only fertilizer, organic fertilizer. But once I fix the chicken manure over here, then we will re-amend the soil with the chicken manure when I'm ready to replant this bed again. Getting all these beds prepped took me a little bit longer than I would have liked, because there were a couple of beds that I actually needed to till a little bit, like this one right here. I had to till it to loosen up the soil because I was standing inside the bed to fix the trellis over there. And the first bed, right when you enter the vegetable garden, I also had to till because I put down some kitchen scraps over it and I just tilled them in. And there's actually a video on revitalizing soil where I talk specifically on that. If you guys are interested, I'll link it in the description box below if you want to learn how to revitalize your garden soil. So right now, let's go ahead, grab the poppy seeds and get them planted. So poppies are frost hardy, so you can sow them pretty early in the spring. You can actually sow them even in the fall, and then they will come up in the spring, and they would probably even be hardier in that case. But because I didn't know where I'm going to be sowing them, I waited until now. And you also want to space them about 8 to 12 inches apart. And some of them in here, which is really odd, some of them use surface sow and some a 1/4 inch depth. Giant rattle poppies has to be surface sown. The black peony poppy also surface sown. The purple peony poppy has to be at a 1/4 inch depth. And rainbow mixed California poppy has to be also at a 1/4 inch depth. So I'm just going to follow the seed pack and hope for the best. And these should germinate in about 14 to 21 days. And they do need to stay moist. Of course, we are getting tons of rain, so I'm not going to worry so much about that. But what I'm going to do is, once I'm done surface sowing them, for the ones that need to be surface sown, I'm going to cover them with the cardboard that's over there. And that's going to help keep the seeds moist, so that they will for sure germinate. Otherwise, I may risk the seeds drying out, because if we end up with some warm days and sunny days, they might dry out if I don't keep on top of them and keep them moist. So these are the seeds on a California poppy, and this explains why these have to be buried, while the other ones are all super small. So all the poppies are planted. Let me show you where I planted what. In these 2 beds over here, I planted the California poppy. I actually forgot to plant the California poppy in that bed, so I gotta do that. And the ones right after them over here, this is where the black peony poppy went, and this had to be surface sown. But the reason why I planted it here is because I thought the color contrast with the black peony poppy and the California poppy over there is going to look very nice together. And then as we go back this way over here, right here I planted the giant rattle poppy, and I planted these 2 beds over here, and then the beds right after them over here. And I thought having this block of pink right here is going to look very nice, especially in contrast to the black peony poppy over there, as well as right here, the last 2 beds. Right here we have the purple peony poppy. So we have the purple here, black over there, and then we have these 2 pinks right here, and I think that's going to look very beautiful together. So after I plant the California mixed poppy over here, I'm going to show you what I have for that bed over there that I'm going to be planting it with. Got the poppies planted. Now let me show you what I have over here. This right here, the first one, is Pink Beauty Saponaria, and I actually was thinking of planting the edges of the beds on the outside, on this side over here, and on that side over here. All of them with the Pink Beauty Saponaria. This is a beautiful kind of frothy texture flower, and it only lasts until spring, but it will look very beautiful in spring. And I wanted to do it all along the edges of the beds, but I haven't prepared all the beds. So I think today I'm just going to plant this side of the bed, this one right here, and the rest will have to be planted on another day. So other than that, I also have some butter crunch lettuce, salad bowl lettuce also. It's a blend of lettuce. And whoops, this is Bloomsdale spinach and some cilantro. Oh, and carrots, that's right. These are the Scarlet Nantes carrots. All right, so we got all these, and I will see how I'm going to section them out. I haven't really thought about it. I think what I'll do is I'll probably plant the carrots in the middle, and I'll have we'll have the saponaria on this end over here. We'll have a couple rows of lettuce on this side and a couple rows of spinach on that side, and then we'll have carrots right there. I still have some space over here. I think I'm going to grab some radish and turnips and plant them in the space that I have, because I used up all the spinach in here and my carrots all ran out. I think I may need to purchase some more carrot seeds because I need to plant some more carrots in the fall season. So I ended up planting the purple top turnip, purple top white globe turnip. I planted a row and a half of these. I also planted a little bit, or a row and 3/4 really. I also planted this early wonder beet, and I like to plant beets with turnips because I do like to pickle turnips, and the beets give them a beautiful color. And not so much because we like beets, we actually don't like beets that much. And I also planted some early scarlet globe radishes. These should be planted about 2 inches apart from each other and about 1/2 inch deep because they have a large seed. And this one also about 1/2 inch deep and about 4 inches apart from each other. Same with this one, about 4 inches apart from each other, but at 1/4 inch deep because these are small seeds. And for the carrots, you want to plant them about 2 inches apart from each other, 2 to 3 inches apart. And if you do plant them thickly, which I did with everything really over here because I was in a hurry, you want to thin them out so that they don't crowd each other and they come out all gnarly and thin. So thinning carrots is super important. And these take about 65 days to maturity. The beets take about 28 days to maturity. These, I think, about maybe, I'm not sure, maybe like 40 or something days to maturity. Not that long after not the beets, sorry, the radishes. Same with the beets. And with the lettuce, this variety I sowed pretty thickly because we want to use them for salad, and just like it says here, salad bowl mix, and I thought this would be perfect for that variety. With this one, I like it to head up, and so I planted them about 8 inches apart from each other. And with the carrots, you want to, with the lettuce, you want to plant them about 1/8 inch deep. And the saponaria, I planted about 1/2 inch deep, because 1/4 to 1/2 inch deep. You don't want to plant it any deeper than that. I think 1/4 inch deep is actually probably better, just in case if you accidentally bury the seeds too deep. And these germinate also pretty quickly, and they last only through the spring season. Too bad though, because I do love this flower. I think you may be able to sow it a couple times succession so that you can enjoy the blooms for longer. And with the cilantro, I sowed them about 8 to 10 inches apart from each other. I had a row of cilantro in here, and I think that's pretty good. So this bed is all planted up. And I do apologize because I keep forgetting to turn on my microphone. So now let's take you over to show you all the seedlings. And I colored on my face with a marker. That's not what I was trying to do. So that's not a mole. That's marker. Anyways, so let's take you over to show you all the seedlings, and then we're gonna bring them over here and protect them because we're gonna be having some cool nights, and I don't wanna bring them inside. We're gonna be having some frost, I should say, and I don't want to bring them inside because they're already acclimated to outside. I've been hardening them off for quite a while, and I think I want them to just stay outside and be acclimated to the weather. This is why we are going to be covering them with a frost cover instead of taking them inside. So let me show you all the seeds that we have, all the seedlings, not seeds. Here we are, right here. I have some lavender, and I think some of it is dying just because of all the humidity, and it was starting to die inside. I think it was just way too humid for it. Unfortunately, this is the what's it called? Let's see, not the Munstead. This is the Purple Elegance lavender. That's what I was thinking, but I wasn't exactly sure. And over here I had a few seedlings that also are starting to die. One of them died already. Again, humidity. This one, hopefully it survives, but there's one right there. And this is the Munstead lavender, these 2 trays. Not very good germination, but they did take a while to germinate, and eventually they popped up. But I'm gonna be potting these up eventually. We also have some echinacea in here. This is the echinacea purpurea. Oh, I keep forgetting its name. Let's see. Yes, Echinacea purpurea. And right here we have some Gara. And there's also, what variety of Gara did I plant? Let's see, this is Linda Mary. I think this is just a generic variety of Gara, but I do love Gara. I think it's beautiful. We also have some Tetra White Feverfew and over there as well, and some more Gara and some more Feverfew. I also have here the Broad Windsor fava beans. Oh, there's more Gara over there, and more Feverfew. And we also have tons of onions, all sorts of different varieties of onions. These strawberries over here, they're just gonna stay right here. And if we go over here on this side, I had these inside, but they were starting to suffer because they don't like it hot. So I brought them out here. Originally, I had them in the basement. These are the, can't remember their name, cyclamen. And I love cyclamen. I call it my childhood flower because where I grew up, cyclamens grew everywhere. It was a warm environment. It was about, I would say, zone 8 or zone 9, something like that. And every year in the spring, I would go around looking for cyclamens, and I would always find them kind of in the woods, in the shady locations, and they would have beautiful fragrance, and they're a beautiful flower, and I loved them. And I would always pick them and bring them to my mom. And unfortunately, cyclamens are not a perennial for us over here. They are more of an annual or an indoor plant. I've had them inside for the whole year, but I was thinking, you know, it'd probably be better for them if I just bring them outside. And this is why I have my cyclamen outdoors over here. It's spring, it's perfect weather for them. And I think they're going to do really well, and it looks like they are loving it. We also have a lime tree. This is my son's lime tree. I also have a mango over there that I accidentally burnt because I over fertilized it, so now I think I'm going to cut it like at that level right there. And a pineapple that hasn't done anything yet. It's put on some growth, but I think it's not warm enough for it to do anything yet. I took the top of a pineapple and I stuck it in the ground, and it's doing okay, but I want to see some fruits on it. And a whole bunch of pomegranate seedlings that I started from seed, an avocado that I also started from seed. We also have here some delphinium and some obedient plant, what's it called, nemophilia, baby blue eyes, some lemon balm, and a whole bunch of brassicas over there. I forgot to mention also that we also have over there some lemongrass, and I have a rosemary that is, well, I'm not sure if it's going to survive or not. And over here I did start some ladies astilbe, but it's not germinating at all. So I'm hoping by putting it out here in the cold, it would germinate. We still have some frost, so I'm hoping that this would be enough to cause it to germinate. I was going to take you inside and show you the seedlings inside, but my family is having fun together, and so I'm just gonna not do that. Maybe I'll do that on another time, or maybe you'll just see them whenever I'm planting them. So right now, let's go ahead and take all these plants to the vegetable garden and get them protected. seedlings. Now we need to go take care of the fruit trees. The thing with the fruit trees is that when they are in a bud form, or when the flowers have opened, or even after they start fruiting and the fruit is super small, they are susceptible to hard frost. And our temperatures might dip down into 27. We're not sure. The weather app keeps changing. Sometimes it says 27, sometimes it says 30. So I'm not going to take a chance on that. We are going to cover those fruiting or flowering fruit trees so that we can protect their buds, just in case if the temperatures decide to go below and into the hard frost section. Then we need to protect them, because once the temperatures hit 28, those buds are going to be damaged. So now I'm going to find some more frost covers and take them over there, and maybe, I don't know, use zip ties or something like that to tie them around the trees and get those trees protected. So there are only 3 fruit trees that we need to protect, and those are the nectarine, the Fantasia nectarine, which is right over here in my flower bed, and you can see it has some buds on it, and we need to protect these buds because the hard frost will definitely take those. And we also have 2 more fruit trees that are budding up, and those are the peach and Revitalize peach and the what's it called, apricot. So we definitely have to protect these. So I got some frost covers with me. I don't think I have enough. I have some more in the garage stored away, but I think we'll bring them as we need them. This is the apricot over here, and you can see the buds are opening up, and this one right here is the peach, and just like the nectarine, it's in the same bud stage right now. And I have my handsome husband over here to help me. Thank you. But first, look at these blooms over here. They are starting to open up. I'm not sure what variety of daffodils these are, but I got them. Oh, if I can show you, the camera keeps moving on me. I got this blend from Walmart actually a few years ago, and these are gorgeous. I love them. Okay, now let's go over and take care of the fruit trees. Isn't that nice?
What? Oh yeah.
Okay.
How do you want to go about doing this?
I was just thinking of wrapping it around the tree, like putting kind of like a, just encompass it all.
Okay.
And then we tie it around the trunk. Okay. So I'm trying to see here how much we need of this. I don't want to wrap it tight, just loosely. 1, we don't want to break the branches, and 2, because if the frost cover is touching the buds too closely, it might kill them when the frost comes. So let's see. Oh, wrong way. Okay, whatever. It's harder that way actually. Can you just take the other way? Oh, there you go. I think, yeah, I like the wind helping. And then we'll just cut around it. I wish we had zip ties. We got these 3 fruit trees covered over here. Thank you. And if I turn around over here, we have the nectarine also covered. And right now it feels warm. The weather is very deceiving, but our forecast is expecting hard frost. So I think I'm happy we did this. They look kind of ugly and funny right now. Thank you. But I think we're better off doing this. They're just going to stay like this for maybe 1 week maximum, and then we're going to be taking the frost covers off. And I want to enjoy the blooms also, but unfortunately this is happening. So we don't want to lose our crop this year. Last year we did, and this year we're hoping to have a good crop. So I don't think I'm going to be able to set up the trellis right now because it's getting late and I need to get dinner ready. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something new, and I'll see you again in the next video. Bye!